Hello, everybody. My name is Riccardo. I'm a director, a creative producer, and photographer. I'm here with Ben Mears, who is a graphic designer and an author. And we're here today to have an espresso, obviously an Italian espresso with Ben. And we're going to talk about this design and storytelling. So how to design your own story through design. Ben, do you want to tell us a bit more about yourself? You know what you do and what you're passionate about?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me, Riccardo. Yeah, I'm passionate about many different creative disciplines. Really, I just love to be creative. For my job, really, for my work, I'm a graphic designer, as you say, an illustrator, and I do some animation. So my business is the Dream Loft, and under that umbrella, I cover quite a broad range of creative disciplines, including some website work, some brochure, a print design, and branding and logo design, things like that. So I cover quite a lot of things. And as you mentioned, also the other side of my life, I'm an author, writing mystery novels.
Fantastic, yeah. Thank you. Well, you're definitely a very creative person. I can see from the guitars in the background as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really. I mean, you're the first person who's a published author, and you are working on your fourth book. You told me earlier on, which is great. But also, I'm interested in how do you so there seems like two sides of your career, so you writing books and also designing for for brands and for startups, so how do you so how does it the two things go together somehow? So is there any similarities between the two, so right storytelling, design, and why we talk about storytelling when we talk about design quite often. So, what's your take on that?
Yeah, well, I believe really that a design, particularly when we're talking to branding and business approaches to communication, can be heavily influenced by your story. In essence, when you design a logo, for example, which is just one element of your brand, that logo will communicate messages through color, through styling, through wording, and through probably a whole load of aspects that we don't necessarily pick up on our conscious level, but speak to us more subconsciously, and we take that all in. And so as far as messaging is concerned, you could say there's a story involved in your brand or in your logo design. I mentioned color. Red could be seen as an aggressive color, or as a fiery, as a hot color, or it might be interpreted as a stop. We use red in a stop sign, whereas green these days, if it's green, it means eco-friendly. Green also means go. Blue is a very corporate color, and so even just down to colors, just one element of, or if there's a few colors in a brand, you're really telling a story about who you are, where you're coming from, what you're doing. Does that make is that making any sense to you?
Absolutely. No, that's actually very interesting because yeah, it's interesting what you're saying about that working with the subconscious as well, because I mean, I don't know exactly the reason of that, but yeah, absolutely. When you're talking about red, for example, so we talk about traffic lights, red and green. There must be a reason because those colors resonate in a different way. But what about, for example, websites? Because I know you work with brands on designing their own websites as well. So how is that? That's a much more complex. I mean, of course, it does involve branding as well and logo design. But so what about websites?
Well, I think your website can be a great opportunity, business-wise, to get across the story of who you are, what you do, and therefore how and why people should use you. It's a great opportunity, and your story, the story of you, or the story of your business, if you're a larger business, can be really important to that, because people latch on to stories. People will focus for longer if they are interpreting what you're communicating as a story. If you throw a list of random facts to people, I believe they will switch off sooner. If you tell them a story, you are taking them on a journey, and they will stick with you for longer.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, well, that's also what I do. When I'm doing personal branding photo shoots with my clients, we always start from the story that they want to tell.
Yeah.
Same thing with brands. When I'm working on some branded contents for them. So yeah, so I agree. It's such a powerful way of conveying a message, and also engaging on we touched before about the psychology of colors, touching on the so really connecting people on a subconscious level, so which is yeah, very very fascinating. And have you got any other examples of how perhaps we can use storytelling in branding and design? So any famous examples, or also perhaps examples of some clients that you worked with in the past, any kind of case studies perhaps, so we can understand even better how the two things go together.
Yeah, I'll try and answer this one. I think we can use stories to communicate messages in a quick and dynamic way. Um, there's a lot of people out there who will produce animations for you, whether it's a whiteboard animation, explainer type videos, that kind of thing. Um, I mean, that's the classic way to use a story to get a point across. But I think that storytelling art can really help drive that point home, and as I say, do it in really quite a dynamic way as well, so that people, so that visitors to your website, or viewers of whatever this is, whatever media this is you're telling the story in, are actually entertained at the same time. And it's through that, engaging with their intellect, engaging with their uh, desire to be told a story. It
Yeah.
holds it holds their attention. And yeah, I'm trying to think of any other sort of examples of how you might use this. But even the opening paragraph on your website, on your homepage, what does that say? What does it say about you? Does it include some of your story? Because that really welcomes people in. It really connects with people. And in a quick, if it's done well, there's an art to storytelling, isn't there? That we like good books. We don't really like badly written books. We like well-made films. And then there's some films I won't mention, because I would never advise you watch them. They're made so badly. So there's an art to it. So I think it deserves some time and attention, really, when it comes to thinking about what you put on your website. Um, have a think about your story. This would be my advice if you're revamping your website, or you're getting a new website done, or for the first time setting up a business and creating a website. I would definitely advise, have a good think about what your story is, and how you might bring your story in. I mean, if it's not relevant to your business, then yeah, don't talk about how you got a cat last year and it's doing fine. And keep it relevant, keep it punchy, keep it lively, and keep it tight. You know.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting. That's a very good takeaway from this video, I think. We while you were talking, I was just looking at the books behind you, actually. So just to wrap up this video, perhaps we can just briefly talk about. Um, I know you have a new book that you're about to release, or probably already released, and you're working on another book as well. So I find really interesting when we were talking about design, branding, and storytelling, because I just thought, because I'm pretty sure you've designed your own book cover as well. So I know you've done a book trailer as well. So really interesting how you know storytelling really then feeds on so many other areas of the communication. And of course, you being a graphic designer, you're an animator, you're the best person to really do that. So yeah, so that's very fascinating. So a story, you can tell a story of a book from the book cover as well. So because you want to grab the attention of
Yeah.
of the reader. So do you want to just briefly talk about your books, and
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the new series that I'm working on here, you see behind me. This is the one which is just about to come out. It's out on the 21st of May. The Shadow of Greyton Meyer, and it's a murder mystery really, with a fantasy edge. So yeah, that's the series I'm currently working on. Um, these covers are not my own work, I must add. I did self-publish a series before these, and you're correct in saying I did the covers for those. But it's quite nice that I'm not doing my own covers now. And when you're that close to a project, because you've written the book, the covers can be quite a challenge to even to know what should go on the cover. And as you say, they kind of give a hint at the story and what you're going to find when you open the book up. So they're quite important in that communication. But yeah, that's my latest things. They're my latest works.
Good. I can't wait to read them then. So thank you so much, Ben, for your time, and I hope you enjoy the Italian espresso. I mean, do you drink espressos? I hope,
Oh
or
yeah,
like a
I
tea.
love I love my
Oh,
coffee. Yeah, I do.
all right. So thank you so much, and I'll see you soon for the next espresso. Bye.
Thank you.